Hello. Um, this is part 3 of a look at the top 100 best comics of the 20th century, a list compiled by the Comics Journal from lists made by critics and writers associated with the magazine. Comics Journal number 210, 1999. I've already done 2 of these. So doing this one, 7 more to go after this. This is the original journal issue, long out of print, though of course I believe you can read the whole thing if you get a digital subscription to TCJ. This is the newest issue of my zine, Canon, a nice big fat one. And this entire issue is devoted to the list that appeared in here. Interviews with all of the list makers, lots of just random breaking down of the list itself and the books and the cartoonists. So available at canonzine.bigcartel.com. I'll put a link in the description. And this video we're breaking down number 79 through 70. So the first up is Zap. I just chose a random issue rather than hauling out a whole set. Probably going to be some stuff I can't linger on here. I'm sorry. So at the time of the list, they said Zap ran from 1967 to 1998. I'm trying to see how many issues that was. I think 14. And so 2 more issues appeared later. The entire thing was collected in a giant box set from Fantagraphics. But these issues are out there. They've been reprinted endlessly. Probably able to find these things. The first couple are all by Robert Crumb, and then other people start to get added, and then fairly quickly the doors close and it's the same group of guys for the whole run. Here's Gilbert Shelton with his Freak Brothers. I believe this is Robert Williams, Victor Moscoso. Really nice looking strip. S. Clay Wilson. Crumb with his Mr. Natural. Gilbert Shelton again with Wonder Warthog. Still Gilbert Shelton. S. Clay Wilson again. I don't know if this issue will have the full complement of the crew. Crumb again. Yeah, it seems fairly limited. Maybe I should have grabbed a book. Either way, you get the point. Underground Comics. It's the flagship. Here's a Robert Williams strip. It's the flagship Underground title. And a really amazing collection of talent that came together. The Zap Collective didn't have every major player by any means, but it had a good selection of top flight talent. Really pushed the envelope, as you would expect of an underground comic. Some of it's aged better than others. I was a little surprised that Zap was so low on the list, number 80. But, I think even though the list is about excellence, its influence probably got it that ranking. I don't know if based on pure excellence it would have deserved to be on the list at all. Number 79, Captain Marvel, 1941 to 1953, C.C. Beck and Otto Bender. They were not the only two that worked on these Captain Marvel comics, but they are the kind of the primary movers and shakers. There's the cover of Wiz #2, the first appearance of Captain Marvel. Really attractive cartooning. Just how clean everything looks. Really delightful stuff. Captain Marvel was more popular than Superman throughout the Golden Age, and it's never really been a mystery why. These stories are a lot more fun to read, and in general, I think the art it's a little more cartoonish, I guess, than the Joe Shuster and company, but that's only a bad thing if you think it's a bad thing. I don't. I love how nice this artwork looks. These haven't been collected comprehensively. The archives, they put out 4 Shazam archives and then one of the Marvel family, I believe. Shazam family. But really attractive stuff. I don't know how hard to come by these books are, but it would be nice if there was a nice kind of big, just hefty reprinting of this stuff. So much Golden Age stuff has gotten reprinted, but it's always the same stuff over and over again. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Be nice to mix in comics that are generally considered to be better than all of those. At number 78, Sugar and Spike. I feel like Sugar and Spike is an almost forgotten comic at this point. And these are by Sheldon Mayer, 1951 through 1992, which I believe is maybe when Mayer passed away. It didn't run that long domestically, though. He continued to make Sugar and Spike stories for overseas markets, and almost none of that stuff has seen print here in the U.S. So the main run of this comic was about, I believe, 98 issues of Sugar and Spike, which is a good long run. The conceit is that these two young children, Sugar and Spike, and they speak baby talk. Adults can't understand them, but they can understand each other. And as you can see, it's just a very cute strip, but really, really great cartooning, really fun little stories. Yeah, better than they needed to be, frankly. And Sheldon Mayer, a cartoonist from the Golden Age, did produce a lot of work, but I feel like this is the best stuff he ever did that I'm aware of. Anyway, another one that's criminally underprinted. This is the only book collection that I'm aware of this material. Number 77, Lil Abner by Al Capp. Ran from 1934 to 1977. Hell of a long run. Was massively successful in its time. Cap's art, I think, is really the star for a lot of people. Is a real ink slinger. You know, Frazetta worked for him when he was a young man. His style fit in just right with Al Cap's style. But Al Cap was very influential just on popular culture. Lots of stuff from the strip permeated the wider culture. Al Cap himself was a giant piece of shit, and that's probably one of the reasons why the strip is not as discussed as it once was. I have to admit, not a really big fan of the strip itself. Never been too interested in it. Though I will admit, has a certain visual appeal. But even that is limited as far as I'm concerned. But like I said, hugely successful in its day. Number 76, Master Race by Bernie Krigstein and Al Feldstein. This appeared in 1955. Of course, I didn't mark the strip ahead of time. My apologies. I highly recommend this collection. This is from Fantagraphics, part of their EC-centric EC reprints. I'm sorry, artist-centric EC reprints. So this one is an all Krigstein volume. I think they're up to about 20-something books now at this point, but they're all nice, gorgeous hardcovers. But Krigstein did not produce tons of comics in his life, so we should be happy with what we got. Here's Master Race. I believe it's an 8-page story about a man who comes across a guy who was a commander of a concentration camp in World War II. And what really makes this story famous is the formal innovation. That's a great looking strip. Krigstein, I believe, also kind of took the script and chopped it up and did it his own way, so you don't get quite what you have in a lot of other EC stories, just mounds of text. He definitely told the story pretty well. I think it's a great story, and I really like it. It being on the list is a little strange to me, but not ridiculous, just a little strange. For number 75, Black Hole by Charles Burns. At the time, it was 1995 to present, so it wasn't even finished yet. It was published in 12 single issues, originally by Kitchen Sink, and then taken over by Fantagraphics. This collection is by Pantheon. They've had the collection in print pretty much ever since. 2005 is when the book came out. But it was Burns' first big book. He had several books that had come out collecting his raw work and other alternative work he had made. But this was his first big graphic novel. Everything about Burns is that you need to know about Burns is here. The gorgeous ink work, ridiculously thick brush lines, teenagers who have weird shit going on, body horror, yeah, just pure Burnsian, just great stuff here. I haven't read this in a very long time. I'm due to check that out again, but it's a beautiful book, and definitely worth checking out if you've never given it a chance. Number 74, Ernie Pook's Comique by Linda Berry. 1979 to present at the time of the list in 99. Ernie Pook's Comique was a weekly comic strip. Would have run like this in a weekly newspaper. This is a little larger than actual size. But yeah, generally 4 panels, probably so it could be rearranged, and it appeared in alternative weeklies. Linda Berry was one of the bigger figures in the world of the alternative weekly, along with, Matt Groening, people like that. Anyway, this stuff's great, very wordy, but really readable once you get into the rhythm of her language. Really like her art style too, though I could see why it would be off-putting to some at first glance. But very effective cartoonist and storyteller. These have not been all collected. This is a Drawn and Quarterly collection, and they've done a few of them, but the entire strip has not been collected yet, unfortunately. Number 73, The Cartoon History of the Universe by Larry Gonick. This was an underground comic, though really just by mode of distribution, not in terms of its content. And this is volumes 1 through 7. And these nice big collections, this one's published by Doubleday. These are all, I believe, still in print. There's 3 of these books. and then it spun off into a cottage industry of other cartoon history, cartoon guide to genetics, cartoon guide to blah blah blah, that are still being put out. But these are all by Larry Gonick. He has very appealing style, kind of Bigfoot, and then he'll get into stuff that's looks a little more realistic. Actually, almost reminds me a little bit of Jeff Smith, a little bit, how he can veer in between cartoony and realistic very quickly. Though this stuff definitely is edging more into cartoony territory. A lot of the stuff would not have been out of place on a newspaper page. Yeah, these books used to be ubiquitous. I don't know how many people pick these up and read them now. But yeah, once upon a time, you found them in used bookstores everywhere. Fun stuff, though. Really fun stuff. And definitely worth checking out if you come across them. At number 72, David Mazzucchelli's Rubber Blanket. There are only 3 issues of this series. All are unfortunately very hard to find, very collectible. It's kind of stunning to me that no one's been able to get these things reprinted. I assume that's the way David Mazzucchelli wants it. This was right on the heels of him doing, Batman Year One and Daredevil Born Again. He just went in a completely different direction. These are self-published. First issue here is from 1991. What's great about these is this oversized, just great production value. So this thing really reminds you of Raw. It's not quite as big as Raw, but it does feel like a lush product. And as you can see, just here's... Yeah, the only 2 people credited in this issue, I believe, are Richmond Lewis and David Mazzucchelli. Lewis is Mazzucchelli's partner. Really gorgeous stuff, though, and I would have loved to have been reading at the time and to know what people thought of this when it came out. Not the alternative crowd, because I know they embraced it immediately, but I really would have wondered what people who read Batman and Daredevil and then took a chance on this, it would have just been so different from what they were used to. In issue 2, he adds a couple of people, Ted Stern and David Horning. Let's see what... So specifically, the entry on the list for number 72 is David Mazzucchelli short stories in Rubber Blanket. So it's this stuff here. So not the other contributors' work. But yeah, this stuff's just gorgeous. It's incredible. And it is a crime that it hasn't been collected yet. It would be incredible if somebody could get all this material together in one book, along with some of the other stuff he put out. Here's a work by Ted Stern, cartoonist I really like. He's known for his characters Fuzz and Pluck, which I believe there's 3 books of Fuzz and Pluck material. Yeah, so let's show this last one pretty quickly, but this, there's Fuzz and Pluck right there. But this issue has... Is this the issue that has the big man? Yeah, big man. Fantastic story. Just really, really good stuff. Yeah, I can't say enough good stuff about this work. It's just fantastic. So I hate to go on and on about it when I know it's going to be so hard for people to find this stuff. But keep your eyes peeled. You never know where you'll stumble across something. At number 71, The Book of Jim by Jim Woodring. 1993, basically. The Book of Jim, I believe, was a 6-issue series. And it was just sort of a catch-all anthology. He had been putting out... Yeah, here's the original covers. Just beautiful painted covers. He'd been putting out kind of a mini comic of his random stuff. And then eventually was kind of given a full comic by Fantagraphics. This has a lot of autobio stuff. Here's a story about a cat. I love the autobio stories in here. And of course, and he abandoned all this stuff eventually to do Frank. I've grown to really love Frank. I think it's great work, and it will appear higher on the list. But he's just a damn good cartoonist through and through. Loved his voice as an autobio cartoonist. Just a singular guy, not surprising. Just fantastic art, though. Fantastic cartooning here. Anyway, this book is available. It's in print from Fantagraphics. Highly recommend it. Great stuff. And, you know, here we go. This is more in the Frank style. You know, unfortunately, this work just never kind of gets mentioned anymore. It's too bad. So, all right, that's it for these 10, 79 through 71. I missed one. Well, I'll have 11 in the next video. If you bother to stick with me for that. Once again, if you're interested in a very deep dive into this list, canonzine.bigcartel.com. Big special issue, beautiful Noah Van Sciver cover, homaging the original Seth cover. And yeah, I dig deep as I could into a whole bunch of stuff. Found some goodies from the depths of the internet. Talked to some really smart people. Check it out if you want to. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll check out the next video. Thanks.